The podcast you're about to hear involves true stories, which may contain graphic content that is not suitable for children. Listener's discretion is advised. This is Esoteric Oddities.
Hey guys. Here
It's
we are,
us.
quarantine week number
525,600 minutes.
600. Oh,
That's
wow.
That's how I feel.
Did you see Rent? You saw
Yes.
Rent, right?
Yeah, and I had to
Love
sing that
that.
song in chorus once.
Wait, you were in Rent? What are you talking about?
I'm in Rent right now.
Oh. Wait, that's going to come full circle in the end because wait till you hear my tweet of the week, baby.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I know, that's really weird. I feel like a lot of people haven't seen Rent.
Exactly.
Everyone needs to go out to your local Blockbuster, put on your hazmat suit, go to your local Blockbuster, and rent. Hi, guys. Welcome
It's
to
us.
Esoteric Oddities, your favorite dysfunctional podcast.
Podcast.
We put the fun in dysfunctional.
It's so hard to record this way because I feel like we already always talk over each other, but I feel like it's been worse
Yeah,
with this because I can't see your mouth.
What a weird way to put it, because I can't
know, right?
see your mouth.
I can't see your mouth.
Yeah, because of the lag. I feel like we do talk over each other because of the lag, but it really hasn't been too bad. I hope not. I haven't really noticed. Maybe we have. Have I been talking over you?
No, I feel like I talk over you.
I think
Specifically.
you only talk over me because of the lag. I don't know. Listen, we're in
true.
quarantine. If you're listening to this in the future, how's the future?
Yeah, I
right
hope
now
it's
it
better
is
than this.
2020. It's about to be May 2020, and I think by the time this comes out, it'll already be May. But we're in quarantine, so Sarah is recording at home. I'm recording here on my bed in my sweats. Can I just tell you, this morning I had a Zoom meeting at work, and there was about 10 people in this Zoom chat, and it was the execs, the university execs. So I had to get dressed up nice. So we did that for like 30-ish minutes, and then immediately after I was like, oh my god, mind you, I was wearing sweatpants while this happened, and I put on my comfies and I'm ready to go, and I go downstairs, and then my Zoom chat starts ringing, and it's the director of my department, and I answered the phone, and I wasn't thinking, and she's like, did you change? I was like, oh shit, you caught me. Yep, I did. I'm in
Yeah,
my
I did.
comfies.
Did you think that I was gonna look like that all day? Who am I, Mark?
No, it was 8:30 this morning. I had a button up on. I said, what?
Yeah, like hell yeah, I changed.
Mind you, I
Why
had
didn't
sweatpants
you?
on too. Right? Why didn't you? It's not that she cared. She just thought it was funny that she called me out
That
for it.
yeah, you changed. Oh, she's such a jokester.
Such a little prankster. Today, I got 2 letters in the mail from my friends.
Cute.
I don't think the reason that they sent them were related, but I was like, oh shit, because one I had sent mail to before, but we're back in the old days of pen paling because texting is a thing of the past. I feel like that's
sure
the point
is.
we're at in quarantine, is we're sending each other letters. Stop. I want everybody to know
That's cute.
that Sarah sent me the sweetest little box. It was this cute little box, and I was so confused at first.
I knew you would be. I wanted minimal information.
You already know, and our Patreon listeners know that somebody had sent me a package before, and I had the bomb squad on the phone because it was that. Anyway, so I was like, what is this? And Mark was like, oh my god, please tell me this isn't another bomb squad situation.
Right.
And then I opened it, and it was a little box from Sarah, and it was a cute little succulent and a candle and a little card, and it was, I know I texted you this, but Sarah, it was so I had a busy day, and sometimes I feel like I keep myself busy. I'm always busy.
Right, busy.
Right, for reasons subliminally we do not know, or we do and we ignore. But I opened it, and it was like a nice little it was a little sunflower on the front of the card, and it was so nice, and I sat down on my couch and I started crying.
It's me. I've been crying every single day.
And it was just really nice. So,
but yeah, I'm sending things like that to all my friends to support small businesses. Like, so I figured like that's a nice way that I could still support and like give something to my friends. Because this time is trying.
The time is trying. For real, for real. Truly. Truly. What have you been up to?
I've been redoing my room. I don't know if I said that. I put some blinds up by myself yesterday.
I saw that.
I took Charlie outside today. I let him roam in my backyard since it's fenced.
How did that go?
He had a good time. He literally nudged my face 2 times while we were outside, and then again when we came inside, like as like a thank you. Like, it was so cute.
Oh, that's so cute. He doesn't do that. He sure as fuck doesn't do that to me.
He does it to me because I feel like I'm his mom, but he doesn't do that to me a lot.
You didn't have him on the leash?
No, I just like let him roam because like he's so scared that he walks around so slowly that like, and like even if he did run, there's nowhere for him to go because it's fenced in. So he's been a little stressed out because of the cats outside. So I figured maybe like letting him see what's out there would help him be less stressed out.
Has that helped?
He hasn't peed on anything, so yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. He had a little pee-pee problem.
Yeah, we let him get the cushion back. Hoping that it's not...
Hoping that it don't stink. Hoping that it's not marked.
Right. Well, so I had to get this, like, special cleaner to get it out, and we pulled it, like, a long time ago when he first did it to make sure that he, like, didn't do it again, because who has time for that? And he, like, wasn't doing it excessively, but, like, it was still happening, and I'm like, this has never happened before. He's never done this, so, like, it was just really annoying, and it was only downstairs in that area that he would do it.
It has to be because the cats are outside. That has to be
Yeah, and they're spraying on my porch.
And the mail slot. You can smell that shit through the mail slot.
Right, and I feel like he's just like, what the fuck?
He's like, I don't have fucking time for this, Mom. What the fuck?
Yeah, so now I'm happy, though. Like, at least on nice days, I could, like, sit outside and have him outside with me.
Oh, little Charlie. And today, as we record, this is little Charlie's birthday.
It is. He's 3. And he
I remember when he
used
to fit in my shoe.
He used to fit in shoes. He used to sleep with me on my pillow. He used to follow me around. And now he left me for Marley.
Oh, he's a little gay boy, little gay cat.
Right. So this is my boyfriend.
We love that for him. Well, listen, trying times.
Everyone's finding love.
Hey, we're going to find love in ourselves. And if we can't find love in ourselves, we can find disgust on Facebook.
Okay, that's a good place. I'm sorry for you.
Can I tell you what happened? So, I feel like you go on Facebook, though.
I do, and I don't know why.
I don't go on Facebook. I rarely go on Facebook. The last posts that I did was like, thank you for my birthday wishes back in February. And before that was like, thank you for my birthday wishes the fucking February before that. But somebody who might be listening to this, so like I won't say who you are, but
I won't name names.
Maybe rethink some of the things you're posting. This person said, basically they were talking about social distancing and how social distancing helped during the Spanish flu, and said the Spanish flu was 100 years ago, ... in all caps, before modern plumbing. Of course, social distancing helped. They did not have running water or toilets, so hand washing was not a thing in most homes. Hygiene was not a thing.
Oh, no. What?
Okay, wait. I'm not even going to read the rest of it.
Don't read the rest, because we don't want this person to know. We airing them out.
I don't even care. But listen, obviously, running water was a thing. So somebody had commented and said, like, by the way, there was running water 100 years ago. Just gonna go ahead and let you know. So I'm sitting there with my cousin Mark as we're working, and we came across this, and he went to type in when was running water invented? But he typed in when was running invented? And can I just tell you, wait. he got a page, like a web page, and it said, running was invented in 1748 by Thomas Running when he tried to walk twice at the same time.
Oh my God, stop. That's actually really funny, actually.
If you need to remember this for a test, just remember the saying, eat some bread, eat some rice. Thomas Running tried to walk twice.
Wow. Thanks, Thomas Running, for trying to walk twice.
Thanks, Thomas Running. You're really out there doing the Lord's work. Like, what?
Can we just picture how that looked?
Yeah, it's called Running. Thomas Running.
I'm gonna walk twice.
And then Mark asked, and I quote, is it Gigi Hadid or Gigi Hadid? Whichever way it is, I think she's pregnant. And he was being dead serious.
Is it Gigi? Why would her name be Gigi?
I don't know. He said it's not Lady Jaja. He had a point.
You're not wrong. Well, then it would be Gigi.
Right.
No.
You would think.
Yeah. Well, if it's Lady Gaga, then it would be
a hard, yeah.
Gigi.
I don't know. It would be Gigi. That's what I used to call my grandmother.
Gigi.
I saw this. Wait.
So cute.
I saw this this TikTok, and it was like white people be coming up with crazy names for their grandparents. Yo, I want to go see Meemaw and Poop Sock.
Literally. And what's that? What's that thing? It's like a bocce.
A bocce.
That's like a grandma in some language.
Oh, I don't know. I call neither of my grandparents I call grandparents. I had mum, pup, gee, and grumps.
I literally just call my grandparents grandma and grandpa. Sometimes I'll hit them with the Lebanese term, but that's not a lot.
I'll hit them with the we get it. You're Lebanese.
I'm a lesbian.
Another side note, I've been listening to the Space Jam soundtrack a lot. Listen, if you haven't listened to Giving You All I've Got by Robin S., you need to. It takes me back to my double dutch days. Like back when I used to jump rope. That's what that song reminds me of. Or like Jump Rope for Heart, if y'all ever did that. Do you remember that? Did you do that here? Or was that just an Illinois thing? Jump Rope for Heart. It was like Hoops for Heart. Did you have that too? I think it was an organization.
Hoops for Heart? I don't think so.
Oh, maybe that was just my school. No, I think that's a thing. It was like anyway.
So, grandmother in Lebanese is Tita.
Tita.
And then grandfather in Lebanese is, so there's a couple different ones. There's there's Jadi or Jado. It really all depends where you're from.
My cat's name was Saba, which apparently Saba Ranks. When I adopted her, her name was Saba, which apparently means grandpa in Hebrew. It's like not even grandfather; it's just slang for grandpa. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna take that into consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that.
But I think I'm gonna go with Buffy.
Yeah.
At first, it was weird, but like, she's definitely a Buffy, not a Saba.
No. She's definitely a Buffy. She looks like a Buffy.
She looks like a little vampire slayer.
Like, I think some cats look like their names. Like, I think Charlie looks like a Charlie.
Do you remember you were going to name Charlie something else?
Oliver.
No, there was something else. I don't
it was
remember what
Oliver.
It was. No, there was something before you got him that you had brainstormed and you told me, and then I met him and you were like, yeah, little boy Charlie. I was like, who?
Who? Because I remember when I first got him, I was in my room, and I was like, this just doesn't, like, work for him. I'm gonna, like, rename him, and I ended up naming him Charlie. Mind you, everyone in my family is named, like, Charlie, so I accidentally named him, like, Charlie the 4th.
Charlie the 7th, welcome.
Right, so
I like never call him Charlie. I call him Charizard. He's my little baby Charizard. He was such a dick to me when he was little. He was a little dick to me.
He was a dick when he was little. Like, even though he loved to cuddle and he loved to be all over me, he would, like, attack my hands.
Oh, he attacked my face. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt. I was very
You're
drunk.
always in his face.
I was in his face. He was sleeping in his cat tree, and I was just trying to karaoke some fucking Natalie, what's her name? Who sang that Torn song?
Yeah, you know that's my song.
You know that's I think you told me that was a cover.
Did I tell you? Because I didn't know that.
Oh, shit. Then you didn't. Hi, surprise. That's a cover. That's not her original song. It was like an indie, like a garage band's song. And she was like, I'm going to cover it. And then she covered it. And then she got famous for it. And everybody's like, she's a one-hit wonder when she didn't even have the hit to begin with.
Right?
But we stan her. What is her name? Natalie Umbridge?
Yeah, I thought it was something with a B.
I'm over her. She has one song and it's not even hers.
I'm not that I'm torn. I'm a little late. You know?
It's a bop. Should we
Yeah, what's your story about?
So again, Sarah and I
we don't discuss topics anymore.
We should though, because I have a newer topic for next week that I want to do that I think will be fun. But again, mine is true crime related. That's probably why you came here. Hi,
yep.
How are you?
I would hope.
So my sources, I got a lot of my information from an article from the New York Daily News by Nancy Dillon, as well as an article from medium.com, not large, not small, but medium.com by Nicole Henley, as well as an article from Men's Journal by Josh Eels. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So, on December 1st, 2008, the police were called to the home of a 39-year-old man. When they arrived, they found a man in a chair with a gun in his hand and a hole in his forehead. The man was Scott Ruffalo, the younger brother of actor Mark Ruffalo. You know Mark Ruffalo?
Sure do. He was on 13 going on 30.
He sure was. Do you know about his brother?
No.
Okay, baby. Well, sit down because not exactly sure why this topic hasn't really been covered too much. In the places that I did find it covered, I found some holes in the story, and I'm doing my best to patch them up. This story took me an embarrassingly long amount of time. But anyway, let me jump into it. So let me rewind a little bit. In the 1990s, Mark Ruffalo was living with his younger brother, Scott. Mark said he sometimes felt like Scott was the older brother, not the other way around. He would loan Mark money to get his car out of impoundment or give him a pep talk to get his life straight. This is a quote from Mark. He said, quote, I was the actor who was pushing 30 and still doing 30-seat theaters, and he was the mayor of Beverly Hills. For years, people would meet me and go, you're Scotty Ruffalo's brother. I love your brother. He's fucking amazing. End quote.
Oh, wow.
So back in the 90s, like, Scott was bigger than Mark, and Mark Ruffalo is like a pretty celebrated actor. I never said that sentence in my life. Why would I say that?
A pretty celebrated actor.
I hate it. John, edit that out. So by 2008, John was a well-known, that's my name. Did I just say John?
Yeah, because you said John, edit that out, so then your mind had John in it. Hold on, before you say anything, let me fix my blinds. They keep knocking against the window and it's making noise.
Okay. Well, thank you for justifying the fact that I just said my own fucking name. Anyway, by 2008, Scott was a well-known and well-liked guy. He was a successful hairdresser who held a license in cosmetology since 1991. He had set up a corporation in 2001 he called Ruff Inc., and he worked at salons all over the bougie side of Beverly Hills and had celebrity clients. He also had a wife, Lazulina, probably butchered that, and he also had a stepdaughter.
You're doing your best.
Thank you. Though the couple did not live together, Scott lived alone. Apparently, his life was going well. But like we've learned many times on this podcast, what you see isn't always the truth. Scott was rushed to the hospital and put on life support where he fell into a coma. But a week later, on December 8th, 2008, Scott Ruffalo was pronounced dead. But once the coroner had taken a look at his body, something urged the police to maybe look into what had happened that night. So investigators started at the location of the crime, collecting footage from the surveillance cameras outside of Scott's apartment building. On this video that they had, just a few minutes before the police were called, a man and a woman were seen exiting the building. The people were identified as 26-year-old Shaha Adham and Christian Moratis. Adham was a descendant of the Saudi royal family. Her grandfather was the half-brother of a princess who was the widow of a king.
Oh, wow.
Right, so she wasn't direct royal blood, but she had...
she had some ties, okay?
Yes, she had some Saudi royal ties. So, that being said, she led a pretty privileged life, and she attended a prestigious all-girls Marlboro school in Los Angeles before transferring to Harvard Westlake, which evidently is another exclusive private school. And according to her classmates, well, at least one of her classmates was actually quoted saying she would constantly have bodyguards stationed outside of her classroom. Just to put this in perspective, Adham's older sister dated the heir Brandon Davis for a number of years in high school, and when they broke up, Brandon began dating Paris Hilton. So basically,
look at that.
Yeah, basically she was in the LA elite, but unlike a lot of her family, she fell into the young Hollywood circle hard. And you know what comes with that, she began partying pretty hard. Mm-hmm. And things began going downhill for her in 2006.
Ooh, I love this story. It's like celebrity gossip.
Just wait, baby. That was the year her parents legally separated. So in 2006, her father, who is listed as a director at a contracting firm in Saudi Arabia, was convicted of driving a vehicle without the owner's consent, and he was forced to pay a series of fines to do 60 hours of community service. And this, I don't know if that led to her parents splitting up, but that was all around the time. And Adham, that's her last name, she ended up becoming estranged from her family. And court documents show that Adham's landlord attempted to evict her from her Beverly Hills apartment, not once, but twice in 2008. And there is an author, his name is Mark Ebner, and he wrote a book called The 6 Degrees of Paris Hilton, Inside the Sex Tapes, Scandals, and Shakedowns of the New Hollywood. And she was mentioned numerous times in that book, if that title tells you anything. So in addition to Shaha Adham and Christian Moratis, who were these two people seen leaving on the security footage, police also wanted to speak to Adham's 29-year-old boyfriend, Brian Schofield. So Brian, he was a friend of Scott's and was actually the man who called the police. So let me just clarify. Schofield, who is this girl's boyfriend, was not in the room at the time of this incident. He wasn't in the building at the time of the incident. He wasn't seen on the surveillance footage, but he was the person who called the police. And he was dating the girl who was there. But there was also the other man, Christian Moratis, who was not dating this woman. I'll get to that in a second. So police then put out a warrant on attempted murder for the couple, for Adham and Schofield, not the other guy who was there, okay? So 1 week later, Adham and Schofield turned themselves in, and the day that they turned themselves in just so happened to be the day that Scott Ruffalo had actually died. Adham, she had a lot to say, but her lawyer was really trying to keep it low profile, so all of the public statements, I don't want to say all of, because I'll get there. Most of the public statements were made through him. So the lawyer claimed that Scott Ruffalo that night had shot himself accidentally during a high-risk game of Russian roulette. And this is the quote from him, quote, "We expect the coroner's report to show the shooting was a result of the victim's chronic playing of Russian roulette and his dangerous playing with firearms while under the use of controlled substances." Have I been saying Adham or Adham?
Adham.
Okay. I'm going to say Adham. Adham was a good friend of the victim and is very sad for the loss of his family. However, she played no role whatsoever in his accidental death. I can confirm that my client was present when Mr. Ruffalo shot himself. She was picking up some keys. End quote. So Adham, I guess she said she stopped by Scott Ruffalo's place to pick up keys to her Range Rover that she had let Scott borrow. Scott, I guess, had given the Range Rover to Christian Moratis to get detailed. But while the Range Rover was in Christian Moratis's possession, it was impounded. So her lawyer, Odham's lawyer, said that the gun belonged to Scott, and that Scott was a known cocaine user who had used drugs and played with guns in the past in front of numerous witnesses. So they look into it, and Scott himself did not, have the greatest, he had a brush with the law. In April of 2002, he was convicted of a felony charge for possession of a controlled substance for sale. He was also charged with a second degree of possession of controlled narcotic substance, but that was dismissed. Odham told her lawyer that the night of the incident, it was just her, Scott, and Christian in the apartment. Again, Christian is not her boyfriend. Christian is this other guy.
Yeah, that let her car get detailed.
Yes.
Something about that, yeah.
Yeah. Scott was sitting on a chair. Is it in a chair? On a chair?
Sitting?
On a chair.
I feel like it could be on or in. Really, whatever.
I love your support. Thank you. Okay. Scott was sitting on a chair, and she stood up and turned around. At the same time, she heard Scott say something about Russian roulette. Then a gunshot rang out. When she turned around, she saw Scott bleeding from the gunshot wound in his forehead. So she panicked, called her boyfriend, Brian Schofield. Brian, who again was not there, called the police. Then she and this Christian Moratis guy fled the apartment building, which is what we saw, what we heard the investigators see on the surveillance footage, okay? Also, an additional interesting piece of information is that she claimed that before that night, she had never met Christian Moratis, the other guy who was in this apartment.
Why would you lie?
I don't know if she had or not.
Oh.
She may not have.
I feel like she's lying.
I think my question is, why would you flee the scene?
Right. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking like, okay, she gave him, or whatever, Scott gave Christian her car, so maybe that's why it was their first interaction. But why would you run if you're innocent?
Right. Interesting that they both ran. So, police interviewed Brian Schofield and Christian Moratis. They were questioned, but whatever happened in that interrogation room is undisclosed to the public. So, all three were arrested. They were all booked, but released from custody, and they were not charged with any crime at the time. And then the medical examiner released their report. So the report notes that there was presence in Scott Ruffalo's blood of cocaine, morphine derivatives, and a chemical that is found in antidepressant and anti-anxiety drugs. However, the traces were so small that they believe it's unlikely that he felt any of their effects at the time. When this happened, the story was kind of being painted that he was high on cocaine and he wanted to play Russian roulette. And that was kind of what was being said about him. However, they're looking at his blood and they're just like, yeah, I mean, there's traces there, but I mean, cocaine has a half-life of what, like 3 days, maybe 4 days? And the other drugs have a half-life of longer than that. Mm-hmm. So it could have been like something from the day before or like earlier that day. Anyway, the rest of the report showed that Scott Ruffalo's head wound was not consistent with a game of Russian roulette. He had been shot from a 45-degree angle from above and in front of his head. Why
don't people ever think that, like, they're going to find that out? Like, I feel like all the movies and, like, shows I've seen, they're like, it's obvious that this person, like, didn't kill themselves. Like, how, like, why don't people think about that?
You know, I don't know if it was, you know what, let me, hold on. Let's put a pin in that because that's a good point. We're going to put a pin in that.
Put it in the parking lot.
Put it in the parking lot. Pave paradise and put up a fucking lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So, where was I? Okay. The gun was found in his left hand, yet the bullet had hit his hairline on the right side of his forehead. There was no gunpowder residue found on Scott's hand or around the gunshot wound. All of this information suggested that somebody else was standing above him and had shot Scott Ruffalo while he was sitting down. So then Scott Ruffalo's suicide was labeled a homicide. Police found 2 sets of fingerprints on the gun. One was Scott's and the other was Oddham's. According to her lawyer, she had touched the gun earlier that evening. According to Oddham herself, Scott had the gun laying out on the table and she moved it away from them for safety reasons. Now, this seems feasible. I feel like that's something I would do. I don't have a problem with people owning guns. I just don't like guns. It's not my thing. I don't enjoy it.
It just gets scary.
It does, especially around the wrong people. Exactly. I've held a gun, like I've held a real gun one time.
I've shot a gun, like at like shooting ranges and stuff, and like.
Yeah, I remember you got like didn't you get a bruise or a splinter or a burn mark or something?
I don't think that was me.
Oh.
I think it's finally raining.
Yeah, it's pouring here. I hear it against my window pane.
Oh, I love that for you.
I guess that's why they call it window pane. Anyway, yeah, I'm not the biggest gun advocate. I'm not trying to take anybody's guns. I just personally don't like them. Anyway, so just a few days after Scott's death, I believe this was on either December 11th or December 12th, and he died on the 8th. I think this must have been the 12th then. So TMZ. Yes, I'm bringing TMZ into this. This might be a first.
Love that. Perez.
TMZ. Oh my God. No, Perez wasn't in TMZ. Was he? No, he wasn't. He was PerezHilton.com. He's his own.
Oh, right. Why did I think that was the same thing?
Listen, back in 2006, they were straight up competitors. You were not in the wrong.
It was all a blur.
Yeah, it was all a blur. So anyway, just a few days after Scott's death, TMZ got they got in a quick few questions on the street with Oddham and Schofield. This was the couple. Again, Schofield was not there. So I don't know who was asking the TMZ question. So I'm just going to refer to that person as TMZ. And TMZ asked her to comment on the case. Schofield, the boyfriend, responded before she could say anything. And he said, quote, "The truth is going to come out. We've been vilified." So then TMZ asks, quote, "Do you know where the gun is?" End quote. Just assume that these are all going to be direct quotes, pretty much verbatim. So Oddham responds, "I don't know anything about that. I'll talk. I had nothing to hide the whole time. I was vilified. And there is something called the Darwin theory, where everything that could go wrong went wrong." So I'm just going to sidestep that and say Darwin's theory was of evolution. And I think she's talking about Murphy's Law, which is essentially things will go wrong in any given situation if you give them a chance. More commonly referred to, whatever could go wrong will go wrong. She said the damn Darwin theory. Anyway.
I mean, she was in the right place, you know?
No, she wasn't. She wasn't. We were all at the football stadium and she said, "I'll be at the volleyball court."
She was in the parking lot.
That's what it is. Put up a fucking lot. So, back to Oddham, she said, quote, "I have the truth on my side the whole time, and it really sucks because I spent 36 hours in jail suffering. Like, my heart was breaking knowing I did not do anything at all. And all that kept me going was the truth is going to come out. The truth is going to come out. But there is a lot of little pieces to the whole story. Not the crime that took place, the story, which will come out." So I think that's an interesting choice of words that she said, especially when you watch the video. And I'm going to post this video on social media because I feel like not enough people were talking about this at the time.
Yeah, and it seemed like she kept repeating it, like in a weird way.
Yeah, like almost trying to convince yourself of something, right?
Right, yeah.
But let me backtrack and let me run that last 2-3 sentences back. She said, "There are little pieces of the whole story, not the crime that took place." Okay, why would she say not the crime that took place? Because if it was a game of Russian roulette, like an accident, you know, a Russian roulette incident, like she says it was, what's the crime? You know?
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
It's a game.
But what's the crime? Why would you say crime? Anyway, so back to this video. In the video, Oddham and Schofield, they're like walking across the street and TMZ is chasing them down. So while they're about to cross the street, they're looking both ways and they're about to step into traffic. TMZ asks, "Do you know who the third person of interest is?" So here's another point. Christian Moratis, there's not a lot reported on him, like at all. You can find his mugshot, but I don't know if he had good lawyers or what, but he doesn't really have much associated with this crime. So at the time when this happened, nobody really knew who that third person was. It was basically just public that it was Odham, her boyfriend Schofield, and then a third person of interest. So TMZ asks, do you know who the third person of interest is? She responds, of course I know who he is. He was in the room with me. So it's weird why my name came out and the other person's didn't. And you could tell in her voice she's trying to hold back that she's probably, her lawyer told her not to say anybody else's name.
Right. But the other person.
Right. So TMZ asks, was he dealing drugs? Odham said, Scott wasn't. And then she gets cut off because visibly you can see her boyfriend Schofield tugging at her arm and he's nervously laughing. So when he does this, after this question is asked, was he dealing drugs? She turns her head to him, reads his face, like the expression on her. You can see it too. I'm going to send it to you. She turns back to the TMZ camera guy and she says, no, I don't know if he was. So I don't know what she was going to say, but her boyfriend stopped her from saying it. So the couple finally crosses the street and TMZ yells, why was he playing Russian roulette? To which she responds, he's crazy. TMZ asks, you ever play with him? And she says, no, I hate guns. So then, just 3 years later, on January 6th, 2012, Odham was rushed to the hospital and she died of an alleged drug overdose. Here's another weird thing. She died. And
shit.
Every report says it's an alleged drug overdose. I tried to see what public files I could get my hands on. Couldn't get anything to confirm that it was actually a drug overdose. A lot of people are like, yeah, she lived a crazy lifestyle, so it's believable. But I don't know if the girl knew something she shouldn't have, if the girl did something she shouldn't have.
Right. She seemed to be mixed with the wrong people.
Right. And in the aftermath, Mark Ruffalo did a 2013 interview with Men's Journal, and I'm just going to briefly quote this. And he said, at the time of, in this article, it says, at the time of Scott's death, Mark had accepted the script for The Kids Are All Right and noted how much the character reminded him of his brother. Did you see that movie, The Kids Are All Right?
I don't think I did.
It's with the girl who plays Alice in Alice in Wonderland and whoever played Josh Hutcherson, the guy who plays PETA.
Nope.
I feel like you might enjoy that movie. It was pretty good. So basically Mark had accepted this role for The Kids Are All Right, and the role he took on, he saw a reflection of his brother Scott. He said, quote, his charm, his spirit, his sense of humor, his daring. He was great. How great he was with women, how he sort of devoured life. He decided to make the role in homage. I'm only capturing a tiny glimpse of him, he said, but I think it ended up honoring him in a really nice way. He's a beautiful guy. He was a beautiful guy. And that's just a little piece from that. So, to this day, no one has been charged in the murder of Scott Ruffalo, which remains unsolved. What do you think?
It seems like they didn't even, look into it.
So, I think because the case is unsolved, again, there's information that they are not giving, that's not open to the public, but I don't know if this is going to get solved anytime soon.
Right.
My big question mark is what happened there. A lot of people think that Odham, the girl, she was sleeping with him and something went wrong or something. I don't know. This is just a theory, allegedly. I don't know. Somebody else said it had something to do with the Christian guy. Again, his name isn't really popping up anywhere.
That's what I was thinking. Because he seemed to be like the odd denominator.
I don't know. There's really not much information out there about this case and what happened.
That's so crazy.
And I know that the Beverly Hills Police Department was under a lot of scrutiny at the time and after the time because some cases that they took on, I don't want to say sloppy, but they did maybe turned a blind eye to certain information,
about this case?
About this case, but about a different case, which I think I might cover, so I don't want to mention it. But But yeah, there was a lot of scrutiny that they were under because it looked like, they publicly said that it was a suicide until the medical examiner, all the medical examiner had to do was keep their mouth shut, and this would have been publicly, at least, his death would have been just ruled a suicide, like a straight up Russian roulette situation.
Right.
But the medical examiner was like, hey, no, like, let's look at the trajectory of how the bullet entered his head. There's no way he could have done it with his left hand across the right side of his fucking forehead.
Right.
And aimed it higher up than his arm could even reach. And also, let's take a look at the gun, and the fingerprints that are on it. Also, let's take a look at there was no gunpowder on his hand. If you shoot a gun, there's going to be traces of gunpowder on your hand. So essentially, they're 99.99999, almost 100%. I would say 100%, but I don't want to get backlash.
There's always that 1%.
Yeah, not even 1%. That point 0.0000001%.
Right.
That basically he got murdered, and nobody knows
definitely.
what happened. And yeah, that's my story.
And I'm sticking to it.
And it's unsolved, and I think it's sad, it's tragic, but I also think that Mark Ruffalo...
Who do you think do it?
Who do I think did it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's not enough information for me to draw a conclusion to that. I mean, her fingerprints were found on it, but I also don't know anything about this other guy. I don't know.
The Christian guy?
Yeah, because all he had to do was technically wear gloves, and he could have got away with something.
That's also true.
Like that. She could be completely innocent, like she claims, and her fingerprints could be on the gun because the gun was on the table and she moved it. It's possible. I don't know. I feel like there's way too many missing parts for this, but I think the boyfriend knows something. I think her boyfriend knows something, and he's trying to keep her mouth shut, and I don't know what that is. Because why did she call him and not the police? And why did he call the police when he wasn't even there? And why did why did the other guy who was actually there, why didn't he call the police?
Yeah. And why did she leave?
Right, exactly. And
Looks
did they really not know each other before that night?
Right.
I don't know.
You never know. With the Hollywood socialite.
I was just going to say with a young Hollywood.
Okay. So I got most of my sources from listverse.com, Wikipedia, because, I love that. I just discovered Listverse, and it's, helped me a lot.
They're factually. That was actually going to be their website. Did you know that?
Oh, really? I love that. That would have been better.
No, I was lying.
Oh.
But we should start that. We should do...
Actually, factually.
I was kidding. Sorry. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. Go off.
Oh, that's okay. I don't have any thunder. Anyway, Betty McCricket was a sex worker living in Newcastle, England. She was pretty much born into poverty and lived on the west side of Newcastle in an extremely poor area called Scotswood. Betty had a child at 16 who she named Mary Flora Bell. Mary Bell was born on May 26, 1957. Do you know the story?
I do not. I don't think so.
Oh, yes. So, as you know, Betty McCricket, she was a sex worker, and she was often absent from her family home, traveling to Glasgow for work. The first time that she saw her daughter, she said, "Get that thing away from me."
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, we're already setting up for Mary to have kind of a very...
A fucked up childhood, yeah. Also, do we know the I guess the past of how she would have got pregnant may have had something to do with her disdain for her own child.
So it is it's not known who Mary's biological father was, but people believe that it was Billy Bell. He was a criminal, and he was arrested for armed robbery. In Betty's sex work, she specialized in playing the role of a dominatrix as well as other BDSM roles, which mix violence with sex. Betty would perform violent acts with and for her clients, and, Mary almost certainly witnessed what her mom was doing to her clients. Numerous family members have said that Betty had more than once attempted to kill Mary and make her death look accidental during the first few years of her life. Her family was suspicious when Mary fell from a window and when she accidentally, I'm saying this with air quotes, consumed sleeping pills. On one occasion, a witness saw Betty giving the pills to her daughter, like, as a treat.
Uh-huh.
Mary herself later says that she was subjected to repeated sexual abuse. Her mother was forcing her from the age of 4 to engage in sexual acts with men for money. And at the age of 5, Mary witnessed her friend get hit by a bus. So, like, Mary has had a rough...
Oh, my God.
She's had a rough.
Holy shit.
After the fall Mary experienced, it was reported that she had suffered brain damage, and as a result, this damage had a lot to do with her childhood abuse from her own mother. Like, so basically her mom would kind of mock her. Because of the fall, it damaged her prefrontal cortex, and this is an area that associates with voluntary movement and decision making, so she became kind of
impaired in that way of actual consciously quote unquote good decision making,
right, and like movement. So I think her mom Betty gave her a lot of shit for that, and we know that Betty's not nice.
No, she's not. Some would say a cunt.
Right. Some of the accidents was Betty's determination to get rid of the burden she called her daughter, while others saw it as symptoms of Munchausen's syndrome by proxy. They think that Betty longed for the attention and sympathy when her daughter would get hurt. So that's like some of the things that they said that was wrong with her mother.
That's like that Gypsy Rose shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I had an experience. I feel like I probably shouldn't share this, but I'm going to.
Tell me.
So when I was younger, where I used to live, there was a house. It was notoriously somewhat dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we moved in, the mom because there were a few kids that were my age and a little bit older.
Yeah.
But the mom was in a cast, and the dad was really like scary. Like, he yelled a lot. He was always angry. In retrospect, he might have been a little bit of an alcoholic, but I don't know, because back then I didn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what that looked like. But all I knew is the mom was in a cast, and I remember that was the house we avoided on Halloween. Didn't matter if they gave out like king-size candy bars. Yeah, like we would dodge that house because the dad was so scary. I didn't really hang out with the kids who lived there. I remember there were a couple of different times where the mom had, like, she was in a wheelchair with a broken leg, and then another time when she was she had like a neck brace on, and the whole time, I mean, in the back of my head, and I remember as an adult, I had spoke to my parents about it. And in the back of their heads, they thought maybe there was some sort of, domestic abuse situation there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if my parents stepped in anytime, because there was a lot that was hidden from me because I was a little kid, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as an adult, I then happened to be randomly talking to somebody who knew who this family was. Essentially, I found out that the dad was a really nice person, and that the mom was addicted to surgery and the attention from the surgery.
So, like, she would, like, throw herself downstairs, probably, and things like that?
Yeah.
That is
she would.
Really
and
crazy.
In my head, I'm like, that's sad, that's fucked up, I don't understand that, because that's not my life.
Yeah.
But in some sense, I could think, okay, maybe she's addicted to painkillers, because, you do that, you end up in surgery, you get painkillers.
Right.
But she didn't. She wasn't taking any painkillers. She was addicted to getting physical surgeries and getting the sympathy.
Oh, that is so bizarre to, like, think about.
It is. And I mean, like, it was an illness. She's sick, and I don't know what happened to her. I hope she got help. But I just remember in retrospect, like, that flipped a lot of shit upside down, because I was like, as a kid, I thought that was a scary dad who was drunk with, like, this poor
old lady who's always hurt.
Yeah, who's always hurt. And, growing up, I could see how that would be problematic in a sense where I was like, oh, maybe he hits her, like, God forbid. But
right.
And that's kind of what I think a lot of people were thinking, and maybe that's why he was so angry. But sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but that was like,
that's okay.
that popped into my head. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, because that's Munchausen's, and then Munchausen's by proxy would be mostly children, because or somebody in your proximity that you're hurting, but you're taking care of, because you're absorbing the sympathy for that by proxy, the proxy being the other person. So yeah, I mean, maybe that woman who was that I knew when I was younger, I believe had Munchausen's, but that's different than by proxy. Anyway,
by proxy. Wow, we all learned something.
Yeah. So sorry. Anyway, back to you.
No worries. So as I mentioned before, Betty was often away from home on business trips, but this became a period of greatness for Mary, because she didn't have to deal with her mom being around. When Betty was home, Mary was subjected to abuse mentally and physically. Betty even tried to give Mary away to a woman who was unsuccessfully trying to adopt, and the sister had to go out and find Mary and bring her back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know why at this point they didn't just like take her away from Betty.
Right.
But given all that happened, it's obviously not a surprise that by the age of 10, Mary became a strange child. She was withdrawn and manipulative, and she was always hovering on the edge of violence. So like she would do like little things, you know, to make it like, yikes, I know that this child is reaching out for help, but she's doing it in a violent way.
Mm-hmm.
So on May 11th, 1968, Mary was playing with a 3-year-old boy who was badly injured in a fall from the top of an air raid shelter. His parents thought it was an accident, but the following day, 3 mothers came forward to tell the police that Mary had attempted to choke their daughters.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm. A brief police report interview and a lecture was done for Mary, but no charges were filed. Then, on May 25th...
Oh, okay, wait. So she's like 10 at this point.
Yes.
Maybe
she's ready.
Okay.
I feel like I never give... I'm just like, we're reading it.
We're just diving. Okay, go off, sis.
Then on May 25th, the day before she turned 11, she strangled a 4-year-old named Martin Brown to death in an abandoned house.
Jesus. Whoa. Okay.
She left the house and started hanging out with her friend Norma Bell, which is no relation to her. And I guess she met up with her friend Norma at a park, but they were beaten there by 2 local boys who had been playing, and this made Mary mad.
I'm sure.
So there were also 2 boys who found the body of Martin Brown in the abandoned house. Just want to cover that. That's how the body was found. So police were shocked. There was a little blood and saliva on the victim's face, but there was no obvious signs of violence. There was an empty bottle of painkillers on the ground near the body, but they assumed that Martin Brown had swallowed the pills, and they assumed it was an accident.
Oh. Did that have anything to... I don't know if you're going to get to it. Did that have anything to do with the incident?
We'll get there.
Okay.
But Martin's grieving family started to suspect otherwise when Mary Bell showed up at their doorstep days after Martin's death and asked to see him.
Yeah.
Okay. His mother explained to her that Martin was dead, but Mary said she already knew that and she wanted to see his body in the coffin.
Oh.
Yep. And, of course, Martin's mother slammed the door in her face. Shortly after that, Mary and her friend Norma... they broke into a nursery school and vandalized it with notes, taking responsibility for Martin Brown's death and promising to kill again. The police assumed the notes were a morbid prank, and for the nursery school, this was just the latest and most disturbing in a series of break-ins. So they assigned an alarm system, so they're thinking, like, our school has been broken into before, like, this must be, like, a joke. But I don't know why you would call that a joke.
I mean, a lot of people do a lot of fucked up things, but...
But installing the alarm system was a smart choice because it caught Mary and Norma at the scene of the crime several nights later. But all they were doing was hanging out outside when the police arrived, so they couldn't really get them for anything.
Hmm.
In the meantime, Mary was telling her classmates that she had killed Martin Brown. Her reputation as a show-off and a liar prevented anyone from taking her seriously.
Right, I wouldn't either, especially if she, like, just turned 11. Everybody says a lot of shit.
Right, but that was until another boy turned up dead.
Oh, boy.
All right, here we go. On July 31st, 2 months after the first murder, Mary Bell and her friend Norma killed 3-year-old Brian Howie by strangling him.
Oh.
But this time, Mary mutilated the body with scissors, scratching his thighs, and butchering his penis.
Oh, no.
This is why I thought it was so important to mention what the mom did, because there's no way that this child, like, knows this on her own.
Mm-hmm.
When Brian's sister went looking for him, Mary and Norma offered to help. Can I just say that one time in my hometown, this guy was murdered, and the 2 people that did it helped them search for the body.
Did they?
Yeah.
Wait, was that this? Did you cover that story?
I think I did.
We did a hometown episode.
I don't know. We only did one, right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't cover that.
Oh, well, fuck. Maybe we'll have to do another.
I'm ready.
I mean, there's... I feel like there's a maybe not. Maybe not. I could be wrong. But I personally feel like there's a difference between, like...
Say it.
I don't know. Possibly, this goes to the argument of nature versus nurture. Mm-hmm. A possibly natural-born psychopath. Also, I don't know... I'm just comparing to any sort of circumstance where a person would go look for their own victim. Where it's a naturally born psychopath versus somebody who had an abusive childhood, who physically fell, who had brain altering injuries, that would then think in their altered state of injured mind,
brains, that was okay.
That it's okay to go and do this for whatever reason that we probably wouldn't understand. I feel like, but again, I don't know, because that brings it to nature versus nurture.
Right.
I don't have the credentials to talk about that.
You're not wrong. We'd have to dive into, like, all these things that makes it.
We'd have to get some credible people to
explain what it is. Yeah.
Right.
I agree. When Brian's sister went looking for him, Mary and Norma offered to help. They searched the neighborhood. Mary even pointed out the concrete blocks that hid his body, but Norma said he wouldn't be there, and Brian's sister moved on.
Oh.
When Brian's body was finally found, the neighborhood was in a panic. 2 boys were dead in 3 months' time. Police interviewed local children, hoping someone had seen something that would lead to a suspect.
And I'm sure the police at this point weren't really... I mean, I know they told their classmates, but police probably were not thinking that an 11-year-old and her friend did it.
Yeah, I agree. So they received a shock... hello? They were super shocked to find out that the coroner's report came back, and as Brian's blood had cooled, there were new marks that appeared on his chest, and someone used a razor blade to scratch the letter M into his torso. There was also another disturbing note. The lack of force used to attack suggested Brian's killer might have been a child.
Oh.
So, as we can see here, Mary and Norma did a bad job of disguising their interest in the investigation, because they're children and they don't know that all these things could lead back to them.
Right. Or they didn't care.
That's true. Well, Mary and Norma were conducted by the police to do interviews, and they acted strange, of course. Norma was excited in the interview, and Mary was evasive. The police pointed out that she had been seen with Brian Howie on the day of his death. On the day of Brian's burial, Mary was spotted outside his house. She even laughed and rubbed her hands together when she saw his coffin. A demon child.
Yeah, for real. I'm looking at a picture of her now, and, like, her eyes are horrifying.
Yeah. So, of course, like, the police see this, and they're like, what the fuck? So they call her back for a second interview, And Mary, probably sensing that the investigators were like finding out what happened, made up a story about her having seen an 8-year-old boy hit Brian on the day he died. She said the boy had been carrying a pair of broken scissors. But that was her biggest mistake, because the mutilation of the body with the scissors had been kept from the press and the public. It was a detail only known to the investigators and Brian's murderer.
Wow.
Idiot.
Shit. Yeah, but she's a kid. But she doesn't know that they.
I just said
they'll
idiot.
withhold
She's
that.
a child.
Shit.
Acting like a grown-up. So both Norma and Mary, they broke down under further questioning. Norma became cooperative with the police, and she blamed Mary, who herself admitted to being present during Brian Howie's murder, but tried to place the blame on Norma. So Norma's blaming Mary. Mary's blaming Norma. Both girls were charged, and a trial date was set.
Oh, shit. I assume they're not being charged as adults. Or maybe they are. I'll let you finish. Sorry. Okay.
That's okay. At the trial, the prosecutor told the court that Mary's reasoning for committing the murders was solely for pleasure and excitement of killing. All the while, the British was referring to her as the evil born. The jury agreed that Mary Bell had committed the murders and handed down a guilty verdict in December. Manslaughter was the conviction, and as the court psychiatrist had convinced the jury that Mary Bell showed classic symptoms of being a psychopath and could not be held fully responsible for her actions. Norma Bell was regarded as an unwilling accomplice who had just fallen under a bad influence, and she was acquitted.
Wait, Norma? Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Norma
You said
Bell,
that they had the same last name, but they're not related. You did say that. Okay, sorry.
The judge concluded that Mary was a dangerous child and a serious threat to other children. She was sentenced...
That's true. That's a fact. Yes.
That's a fact. She was sentenced to be imprisoned at Her Majesty's pleasure. It was a British legal term that denotes an intermediate sentence, basically until they feel like they could let you out. There's no, like...
It's called Her Majesty's pleasure?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, that sounds like a reverse cowgirl if you do it in England.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is a British legal term, and it means, like, an intermediate sentence. So basically, like, it means... I don't think she was imprisoned at Her Majesty's pleasure. This is what they're calling her sentence.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's just, like, a place where you go, and whenever they feel like it's appropriate to let you out, they will.
Interesting. Like probably somewhat of like a child rehabilitation center or like a hospital of some sort.
They were impressed by Bell's treatment and rehabilitation and felt like it was appropriate to let her out in 1980. She was released on license, which means that she was technically still serving her sentence, but was able to do so while living in the community under strict probation. So basically, she was on probation. Additionally, Mary was given a new identity to provide her with a chance at a new life and protect her from being in the media. Even still, she was forced to move several times to escape the media, newspapers, and general public, but somehow they always had ways of tracking her down.
It's her eyes. It's her beady little eyes.
You're not wrong. But things grew worse for Belle after she had her daughter in 1984. Belle's daughter didn't know about her mother's crimes until she was 14, when a tabloid paper... Oh my God. Yeah. All because a tabloid paper was found in Belle's husband's drawer.
Holy shit. Can you imagine being a 14-year-old just like hanging out, listening on your iPod shuffle, just listening to Avril Lavigne and being like, I'm going to go raid my mom's sock drawer to get her nail polish that she keeps in there, and you find evidence that she killed not one but two people before her 12th birthday.
One of the newspapers was able to find Belle's husband and track Belle down, and when I say Belle, I mean Mary. I just want everyone to know. Soon, a group of journalists surrounded her house and camped out front for hours. The family had to escape their home with bed sheets over their heads. Mary Bell is in protective custody at a secret address. Both her and her daughter remain anonymous and are protected under court order. A lot of people feel like she doesn't deserve the protection, but she still remains protected by the British government. They refer to it as Mary Bell orders when they have a suspect that needs to remain anonymous.
Oh, kind of like what we call the witness protection.
Yeah, it's Mary Bell orders there.
That's probably not the official term. I can't imagine that would be the official
Mary
term.
Bell orders. And that is the story of Mary Bell.
Fuck. What happened to the friend?
The friend was let off. They said that basically she was under like a bad influence and she had nothing to do with it.
Did she get like a witness protection type deal too?
No.
Or do we not know?
I don't. They didn't say it, but I'm guessing she probably didn't since she was innocent.
But I mean, still, I mean,
yeah,
I don't
you were
know.
hanging out with that girl.
I know. Well, I knew someone who was in the witness protection that I wasn't supposed to know was in it. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah. Well, I can't say it here, but
Oh.
I wasn't supposed to know, and I wasn't even asking. I was talking to a neighbor, and the neighbor.
Tell me after to see.
Yeah, the neighbor like dropped it, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't think you're supposed to know that." And because you do know that, I don't think you were supposed to tell me that. But
here we are.
Wow, that's the tea.
Yeah, literally. I'm ready to
That's
hear it.
That's fucked up. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think she should have been locked up?
Yeah, I don't know why they let her out. I mean, she didn't commit a crime after that, so like I'm not saying I don't know why they let her out, but I just feel like
she could have actually been rehabilitated.
Killed people.
Right. You're right. She could have been rehabilitated, but at the same time, you never know when that's gonna
happen again.
When that switch is gonna flip and that it's gonna strike again. You never know. I agree, but also it brings up the interesting conversation of like, I mean, maybe not prison. Again, I don't know how it works over there.
Yeah, like I'm not saying prison, but she like I feel like needs some
should have
sort
been
of
in some sort of
institute where she felt like, damn, I never want to do this again because this sucks.
Yes.
And
but I'm just like, looking at the bigger picture as like this girl, I'm not taking her side, but like she had a fucked up childhood and
right. Right, I'm missing my empathy here.
Don't we all deserve a shot at life? And she had that taken away from her the day that she was born, pretty much.
You're so right.
She was kind of set up for failure. Yes, she has some severe mental issues, but I mean, besides emotional issues that were from the way her mom treated her, but there was also like the physical. I don't know. I feel like she should have been kept somewhere, maybe in a hospital or something, but
yeah, just for like a little while.
Yeah, maybe it was a little while longer. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Hi, this is the I Don't Know podcast.
Please follow
we
us
don't know a
and
lot.
Subscribe.
Smash that like button, baby. I'd never heard of that case.
Wow, I'm happy you didn't. For once in my life, I wasn't like, was this covered? I don't know.
No, you've been bringing like a lot to the table that I've never even heard of, because I feel like I've heard of a lot, but your last episode, Jesus.
Yeah,
fuck,
holy shit.
That was rough.
That guy, I cannot.
I told my brother about that and he was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, on a lighter note.
Do you have a tweet of the week?
I do. Let me do my fun fact first.
Okay.
This might sound familiar, but my fun fact is that running was invented in 1748 by Thomas Running, who tried to walk twice at the same time.
I cannot, but I love that for you.
That's not a fact, but it's fun. So that's what you're getting.
Fun fact.
How about you?
I don't have a fun fact, but I have a tweet of the week.
Hit me with the tweet.
It's going to be a little long, but I just wanted to discuss a little something while we're all going through quarantine and feeling sorry for ourselves. I don't know if y'all are, but I am, so here it goes. This tweet is from Alexis Rockley. She says, those all over the place feelings you've been having, those are symptoms of stress, not personal failures of yours. Do you feel flaky and inconsistent? That's because your brain doesn't know what news to brace for next or what month what next month will hold. She says, tired easily, that's because your brain is burning your energy 10 times faster than usual. Can't seem to focus, that's because your brain has temporarily shut down some functionality in your prefrontal cortex, that part that juggles complex tasks and planning due to stress response. I'm almost done. Feeling creatively blocked, that's because your brain has temporarily diverted all creativity, aka the ability to solve novel problems like how do I avoid dying while in a narrowed, slow-burning fight or flight state. Suddenly, you don't give a fuck about the future-based goals, projects, or dreams like you used to. That's because your brain knows being short-sighted is a safer way to cope right now. So anyone feeling down about this pandemic, please don't. It's so normal. There are people for you that will explain what's happening with your brain and why you don't feel like doing things, and that's totally okay.
Amen.
And that's my tweet.
That was good.
Thanks.
Amen. That you feel a sense, well, at least I can only speak for myself, feel a sense of validation.
Yeah.
You know?
I totally agree. That's why I thought it was even though it was a longer one, I felt like it was important because
I know at least one fucking person out there, if not everybody, can relate to that.
Yeah, right, exactly. What you got?
Well, mine's a little bit more lighthearted, and it's a video, so I'm going to have to explain it. I'm going to send it to you, Sarah, and I'm also going to post it on our website. I'm not going to put it on, well, maybe I'll retweet it. But go to, what is our website? esotericoddities.com, and at the top, click episodes, and then find episode 111. Oh, 111, make a wish.
111.
I wish a bitch would.
Okay.
The tweet it's this video of a girl. It comes from Larry Owen's life. And it's this video of a girl who's in Wicked. Remember how we were talking about Rent? Mm-hmm. Now we're bringing it around to the musical Wicked. And she's, it's a school production or a low-key, aka low-budget production.
Right.
And this girl is playing Alphabet. Did you see this going around?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's a clip at the very end of the song Defying Gravity. For those who are not musical nerds, Wicked is the Wicked Witch. It's from Wizard of Oz. And there's a scene where she hits a really high note and
Love
she
that.
levitates by cables and stuff, but it's in the higher production. I saw it on Broadway when I was little and it was amazing. It fucking blew my goddamn mind. It's actually the reason why I got into a lot of conspiracy theories, because it kind of takes a story that you think you know and it flips it on its head. Anyway, this girl is singing and she's hitting those notes and she lifts a solid 1 foot off the ground, 12 inches, and she's on a cable and she starts to spin around and then her back is facing the audience for the rest of the song and she's just singing,
Stop.
dangling 1 foot off the ground. And I felt so bad, I was dying laughing, but at the same time, at the same time, it wasn't her fault, and she wasn't bad at singing. It was just 2020 as a musical. It was just unfortunate for everybody involved. I have to say, she did hit a riff, she did kill it, but that's
neither here or there. Okay,
it's neither here nor there. So if you saw it, you saw it. That's my tweet of the week, and I thought it was funny. Well, guys, thank you for listening. We
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Like and subscribe. Rate us 5 stars, please.
Yes, and until next time. Oh wait, hold on. I do want to say, I know that there's a couple people who have messaged me about merch. They have purchased merch and it is taking a while to get there. And somebody who thought that we were processing it in-house. We don't.
Oh yeah, it's from a
any
third
of that.
party.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if it's taking a long time. That's something out of our hands. It's also, COVID, this whole situation. I know for a fact that one person has gotten some of their stuff, but is waiting on a tote bag and has been waiting for 3 weeks. I'm sorry. We can't do much. And I just wanted to say that. So when it comes to shipping during a global pandemic,
nothing ever gets anywhere.
I don't think that they can bring too many people into the location where these items come out of. So I think
also the sanitation process is like a lot longer than it probably would be, if at all.
So we apologize. There's not much we can do. Thank you to those who are, and it's not like a lot of people. A lot of people aren't waiting. I'm not, but I have been notified of more than a few people who are waiting on merch. So sorry. It'll get to you when it gets to you. Thank you for being understanding. We love you. Thank you for listening. And until next time, stay safe and check your belly button for Lent.
Yeah, don't forget about that belly button.
Bye.
Bye.